Today we're going to look at writing an exponential function given the exponential graph. What we should do first is identify the asymptote. If we're lucky, the asymptote will be y equals 0. That is what most exponential functions have, but I'm going to focus on ones that don't because those are the harder ones. However, frequently you'll be seeing ones where the asymptote is y equals 0. Then you find the vertical distance between the y-intercept and the asymptote. If your asymptote is y equals 0, this is just the y-coordinate. And then you're going to find, when I say vertical distance, I'm talking about the change in the y-coordinate. So from this y-coordinate to the asymptote, how far is that distance? And then find the ratio of change. So how much is it being multiplied by every time you go write 1? And that's going to be by division. Division. All right, so let's take this one. First of all, this looks like this is getting closer and closer to 0, so I'm going to say that the asymptote is y equals 0. That's good. That makes our lives easy. Now, what is the distance between the y-intercept and our asymptote at 0? Well, it's just the y-intercept, 200. Then, now we can say that y equals plus 0 because that's our intercept. That's our asymptote, and 200 is our distance between the intercept and the asymptote. And then we go from 200 to 160. Now we're not going to put 160 in here. What we want to do is find out how we got from 200 to 60. Well, you could say subtracting 40, but subtracting 40 doesn't work for the rest of the pattern. What is actually happening is we're multiplying by something. How do we tell what we're multiplying by? Whenever we want to find out what we multiplied by, we should divide. So we take the second number, the y-coordinate of 1, and divide by the first number. So 160 over 200 is the same thing as 4/5. So that is why our ratio of change is 4/5. And this is y equals 200 times 4/5 to the x. For this problem, we have the asymptote appears to be down here. And this asymptote is not 0. This asymptote is y equals -3. So this is going to look like y equals something to the x minus 3. Now, how far above the asymptote is our intercept? Well, it's 1 above the asymptote. So the value here is going to be 1. Lastly, we find the vertical distance between the asymptote and our next coordinate. And now we divide. Which way do we divide? 1 divided by 2 or 2 divided by 1? You're always going to do the point on the right divided by the point immediately before it. 2 over 1. So this is y equals 2 to the x minus 3. If you didn't want to use these 2 points, you could have used, say, this point and this point. This is a distance of from -3 up to 1 is a distance of 4. So you can see that you would have gotten 4 divided by 2, which is the same thing as 2 divided by 1. Here we have an asymptote at y equals 100. So this is going to look like something plus 100. Our y-intercept is down at 60, and that is how far beneath our asymptote. So this is from 100, we go down 40. Because we're going down, we'll say minus, and the distance between 160 is 40. So this is going to be -40 times something to the x. Lastly, we want to say, okay, what are we multiplying by every time we go write 1? Well, from -40, we're going to -20. We're going down 20. So if we say down 20, divided by down 40, that will give us 1/2. So y equals negative 40 times 1/2 to the x plus 100. This is the exponential function. It is possible that this problem would be written as an answer choice of y equals negative 40 times 2 to the negative x plus 100. You should remember that just because 1/2 is the same thing as 2 to the negative first. So just be aware that just because you don't see 1/2 as part of the equation doesn't mean that the right answer isn't listed. Thanks.